All right, there is a January 6th commission looking into what led to that insurrection on Capitol Hill. Committee continues to get facts, and we're told that hearings will be scheduled. They might even be in prime time in the next few weeks. There are only two Republicans on this commission for the time being. Adam Kinzinger is one of them, the other Liz Cheney, the Illinois Republican. Adam Kinzinger, kind enough to join us right now. Sir, thank you for joining us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Let me ask you first about what you've found at this point and what kind of cooperation you're getting from former Trump officials, including former Vice President Mike Pence.
So we're getting a lot of cooperation, actually. Of course, where we're not getting cooperation and where we have to take action to get that cooperation is what's highlighted. But we've already spoken to over 300 people. Significantly, the vice president's former team has been quite cooperative and shedding light on what we need to know. I'm interested in what led to January 6th, most importantly. What were the circumstances? What did the former president know prior to January 6th? Because what's most important, even more than accountability for that day, is that we don't have anything like that happen again. So we're making some really good strides, and I think every day that goes by, we're going to learn more and more.
You've been very critical of Kevin McCarthy, his role a year ago versus his role now, and even saying that he helped Donald Trump rebuild his political fortune. Could you explain?
Yeah, look, and it pains me because Kevin and I used to be friends. And on January 1st, I was on a conference call with Kevin. And I said, Kevin, I fear there's going to be violence on the 6th, because when you convince people that an election was stolen, if you believe that, I mean, violence is a pretty logical outcome from that. And he just said, operator, next caller. And since after January 6th, you know, he gave that speech saying Trump bears responsibility, and then 2 weeks later was down at Mar-a-Lago. And in that intervening time, there was a lot of silence within the Republican ranks about where are we going to go. And the second he went there, he basically denied top cover to anybody that wanted to step out and say the truth, and really brought the former president's political fortunes back to life. It's disappointing from a leadership perspective. And as a guy that attended Sunday school almost every week as a kid, the truth matters, and we're not telling people the truth.
What happened, Congressman? Because the leadership was almost universally critical at the time, including Mitch McConnell, including Kevin McCarthy, including others, yourself, of course, who raised serious questions about the president's behavior at the time, and then radio silence. What happened?
You know, I think at so many points in the last year, the intervening 4 or 5 years as President Trump was kind of rising up to get elected, there were always moments he seemed like he was going to be down and out, and he wasn't. And I think from a political leader perspective, they began to fear their own base. And this is a key. As leaders, yes, we need, you know, our base to elect us. We need our people to elect us. But part of the two-way street of that is we have to lead people as well. It is a responsibility. It's a unique responsibility. And I think too many people became fearful. We have a 2-year election cycle, so you're always in one. They became fearful of losing that job. And you can convince yourself, I'll just stay quiet so that I survive, because somebody maybe with much more conspiracy-driven attitudes will replace me. The problem is now is the time. Now is the time where we just need to stand up and tell the people that we represent the truth. They deserve that. They don't deserve more and more emails trying to take their $20 or $30 away for a Stop the Steal movement based in complete nothingness, of which none of that money actually went to stopping a steal.
Are you aware of your colleagues who are afraid of Donald Trump's wrath, that he'll either primary them, go after them, much as he did you?
Yeah, I mean, I think every one of my Republican colleagues to an extent has that fear. I think some are very not open about it because they don't want to admit it, but that's why they start to go underground, be a little quieter. Here's the other thing, Neil, that I think is interesting. I guarantee you, if you put truth serum into every Republican member of Congress, all but maybe 1 or 2, just because I got to put some slop in there, would tell you that the election was legitimate, Joe Biden won, and the election wasn't stolen. Yeah, it angers people to hear it that don't want to hear it, but that's the truth. The problem is, why are those people not telling their folks the truth? That is our basic and foremost responsibility as members of Congress. So I'll stand on an island, I'll take arrows, that's fine, I don't care, but I can look at myself in the mirror and know I told the truth, and that to me is what matters more than anything.
If he runs for president again and he were the Republican nominee, would you support him?
Yeah, certainly not, no. When I saw both the undermining of the faith in an election system, we have to have a basic compact between the far left and far right, that when you vote it counts and that it's going to be counted accurately. That's how self-governance survived. He undermined that, and I would never vote for him again.
Do you think he precipitated the attack on the Capitol?
So I don't want to go out on a limb and say that that's information we want to get to. What we know is that for 180 some minutes, he watched television and watched the attack unfold. I can tell you at a basic level, that is abdicating your oath to office to defend the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. That's the basic. Now, if he was gleeful, and did he know stuff leading up to January 6th? That's what I can't answer. That's what we hope to be able to answer. And I think that'll show the difference between an incompetent or a president frozen in inaction versus a president that knew what was coming. I think that'll be key. We don't have that yet. We will get there.
If he did get into the White House again, pulled a Grover Cleveland, serving a second term, not concurrently, what do you think it would be like?
Look, as a conservative, policy-wise, those are the kinds of things that excite me, getting conservative policies. But when you can't govern yourself and when we're so divided, I'm not sure it matters. I think, imagine if he's back on Twitter and every day it's a new fight you're trying to pick and trying to unify a country when we're facing real enemies like China, we're facing Russia on the border of Ukraine, Iran with a nuclear program, and we're more interested with fighting the other political party than we are in actually defending American interest. I think that only gets worse, Neil, and I think, quite honestly, people's faith in democracy erodes, and when you lose faith, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, when you lose faith, democracy fails, because that's the basic requirement.
Congressman, how does it feel to be a pariah within your own party? I said the same of Liz Cheney.
I don't like the feeling. I've grown up, I was a Republican since I was 6 years old. I admire the Republican past, what we stood for, American leadership and strength, all that kind of stuff. So that part hurts, right? But I would not change a thing that I've done, particularly in the last year, because I know I've got a son being born imminently. It's why I'm in Illinois. I know that he'll be proud of me someday, and I know he'll be able to look and say that I stood up in a tough time. And if it's just me and Liz doing it, it's just me and Liz. That's fine. I wish there was more people, though.
Adam Kinzinger, thank you very, very much. The Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol, Congressman Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, the only two Republicans in that capacity.